Hey everyone, welcome to Alpha Insights. I'm Riley. And hey, if you have questions while you're listening, drop them at stockalpha.ai.
And I'm Jeff. Nice to be here. Quick scheduling note up front. U.S. markets are closed today, Saturday. So any prices you see are as of Friday, January 23rd, and the next trading day is Monday, January 26th.
Perfect. All right, let's dig in. The big theme this weekend is policy momentum in cannabis. We got a couple of bipartisan bills that would put hemp and CBD squarely under FDA oversight. And there's renewed talk about rescheduling at the federal level. But the language seems aimed mostly at medical use.
Which is an important distinction. If rescheduling is medical only, we could see faster paths for research, prescribing and insurance reimbursement for certain products, but it would not automatically legalize recreational marijuana nationwide. That matters for which businesses get the early upside.
Right. And the hemp and CBD bills add another layer. If the Food and Drug Administration takes on consumable hemp oversight, we could get product standards and safety rules. That's the kind of regulatory clarity that brings mainstream retailers and maybe even Medicare into the picture for some CBD treatments.
Exactly. Medicare coverage would be a real demand kicker for certain products, but lawmakers still have to write rules. And that process can take time and negotiation. So it's a potential catalyst, not an overnight game changer.
While that federal policy work is getting attention, the states are sending concrete signals. Arkansas reported record medical cannabis sales for 2025, $291 million, topping its prior high of $283 million and up about $15 million from last year.
Sales like that are the kind of real demand data that analysts use to model revenue for multi-state operators. Strong state-level numbers support valuations for companies with medical market exposure, especially in smaller but steady markets.
And Ohio took another practical step that reduces uncertainty. Officials have begun sending nearly $11 million in cannabis tax money to local governments after holding those funds back. That clears a policy overhang that had created permitting and political headaches for operators in host communities.
When municipalities get their money, relationships tend to normalize and permitting can move faster. That's an operational positive that doesn't always make headlines but can materially speed up store openings and licensing.
There's also state-level reform to watch. Virginia's legislature moved legalization bills forward, which is a near-term catalyst for operators planning to enter that market. So while Washington debates structure, states keep changing the local playing field.
One more note. Culture and consumer interest remain high. Events and media coverage keep the category visible. Not a policy item, but important for demand trends and brand development.
Let's talk tickers and where investors might look next week. If you want broad exposure to policy-driven flows, track the Cannabis ETF MSOS. For individual operators, watch Tilray, Curaleaf, Green Thumb, and Trulieve for earnings and operational updates. Remember though, quoted closes you see over the weekend will reflect levels as of Friday, January 23rd until markets reopen Monday.
And a quick risk framework. If rescheduling stays medical only, it favors companies with medical footprints and research capabilities. If language broadens, adult use operators could get a bigger immediate boost. So read legislative text closely because the difference changes which business models win.
People always ask whether rescheduling means nationwide recreational legalization. Short answer, no. Rescheduling that's focused on medical cannabis would not automatically legalize recreational use across all states. It would mainly affect research, prescribing, and possibly reimbursement pathways.
And on CBD under FDA, that's another nuanced point. FDA oversight can legitimize products with clear safety and labeling standards. That makes it easier for retailers and payers to accept them. And bipartisan bills are explicitly looking to create a path that could let Medicare cover some CBD uses down the line.
So, practical takeaways heading into next week. 1. Policy momentum is real, but the details will determine winners and losers. 2. Arkansas's record $291 million in medical sales and Ohio's nearly $11 million in disbursements are tangible demand and cash flow signals. 3. Choose exposure based on your risk tolerance. ETFs for broad policy plays, individual names if you want targeted upside and can handle the regulatory swings.
Good summary. Keep an eye on congressional language on hemp and rescheduling, state calendars like Virginia, and operational reports from the big operators. And remember, markets are closed through the weekend, but we'll get fresh price action on Monday, January 26th.
All right, that's our wrap. Got questions? We'd love to hear from you. Head over to stockalpha.ai where you can ask us anything and we'll answer live. And while you're there, check out more market content.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back with updates after the weekend as those policy moves and state developments evolve. See you Monday.